Calling All Authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast, hosted by Robert A. Lane, is on the air, featuring everything you need to know about narrating your own audiobook. But it doesn't stop there. From special guests, including authors and professionals from the book industry, to sharing tools and techniques needed to be a confident and compelling narrator. The journey starts now. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
Are you a fan of The Voice? Are you a fan of America's Got Talent or any of those shows where you have people performing and singing their hearts out and competing for that big prize? Well, this is a great analogy when it comes to audiobook narration. I wasn't a big, and I haven't been, I don't think, a big fan, or not. Well, I shouldn't say fan. I should just say it's just those are shows I haven't really watched. However, I do have to admit that there was a show. I don't even know if it's still on, but this is like many years ago. There was a show called Superstar K, and that was a Korean show, which was basically the same type of format as like America's Got Talent. But what was interesting is that I think they used to, and again, I'm going back several years when I was actually watching the show, where they would actually have the artists or the bands compose a song for the next performance, like from scratch. And it was really challenging and interesting to watch how they did things in Korea. So that was actually an interesting show. Luckily, they had subtitles, so I was able to understand what they were talking about. It's funny because like back then, sharing a little story here, back then, remember Psy, right? Gangnam Style, the big song that just blew up. He was one of the judges on that show, and he actually had to leave the show because his career just took off. And I think that was either Gangnam Style had just come out, or maybe I think it was before that song even came out, and he had to leave the show because man, his career just really, really took off. Anyway, but what's really fascinating about those types of shows is that people sing their hearts and souls out for this competition. And you, as an author narrating your own audiobook in your own voice, you are already a winner. You are already a winner. You are the winner of The Voice. You're the winner of Superstar K. You are the winner of America's Got Talent from an author standpoint. You really are. Because your voice is such a crucial part of your author brand. It's not really just how you sound. It's you telling your story coming from the source. You wrote the book, you experienced it, especially if it's nonfiction. All the books, boy, I tell you, most of the books that I've worked on in my audiobook coaching program, helping authors narrate their own audiobook and getting them published, are memoirs. Lots of memoirs, worked on lots and lots of memoirs. Really great stories, I have to say. Some that are very emotionally moving, some that were just really a joy to be taken on their journey. It was just really, really great books. And even the fiction books I've worked on were really great stories. And the author who wrote those fiction stories, by the way, the authors narrated their own book. All right. Fiction, nonfiction, it doesn't matter. The author narrated their own fiction book, and it worked. You don't need a million characters to get your story across because it's storytelling. And those authors, they got it. They're like, yeah, I'm going to tell my story. These are my characters. No confusion on who's talking or what character is talking. Very well written and very easy for them to do their own narration for a fiction book. So don't think that if you are a fiction author that you need to go and find somebody to narrate your audiobook, because you can actually do it yourself. Now, I do work with nonfiction authors mostly because, again, it is your story. And no one can tell your story better than you because you lived it, you breathed it, you experienced it. It is your story. Even if maybe it is, it could be a nonfiction story, but maybe it's not a memoir. Maybe it's just you're telling a story. For example, I worked on a book by Paul Shatskin called "The Boy Who Invented Television," and he talked about, I guess you could say it was a biography in a sense of Philo T. Farnsworth, who was the person who did invent television, not RCA, not Sarnoff, this guy. And the way that Paul Shatskin wrote that book, it was really, really great to hear him do the narration. And, it wasn't really a memoir. He was telling a story, but it worked. It works really, really well. So, again, your voice is part of your author brand. What's your author brand? It's everything that encompasses who you are, of course. That's your author brand. And your products being your ebook, your paperback, your hardcover, and especially your audiobook, because the audiobook world continues to grow and expand, and people are going for audiobooks first before they go to the other formats. Audiobooks are bringing in more revenue than ebooks are. All right. And that gap has been widening since 2019. So here we are, several years later, and more people go for audiobooks. And they even ask for audiobooks by brand name, meaning I can't even tell you how many times I've had people, authors tell me, and people even ask me about the book that I published. Hey, man, is your book on Audible? They don't say, hey, do you have an audiobook? I keep hearing, are you on Audible? Are you on Barnes & Noble? Can I hear your audiobook on Spotify? Can I hear you on Apple Pod or Apple Books? Yeah, people ask for it by brand name. So that's why it's so important for you to have an audiobook and have your book turned into an audiobook that you, as the author, narrate. So you are the winner. You're the winner of the voice because your voice is unique. Your voice is part of who you are. And then, like I mentioned about the author brand, everything that encompasses who you are, your voice, again, being that crucial piece of the puzzle that creates who you are as an author. Now, the great thing about having an audiobook is that people will discover you who've never discovered you, who only listen to audiobooks. So that's one marketing strategy that you really need to have by turning your book into an audiobook so that you are discovered by a wider audience. But that also does help in boosting sales with your ebook, your paperback, and your hardcover, your other formats, because people listen and like to read along. I know a lot of people who do that. I even like doing that. When I listen to an audiobook, I'll read along, especially if it's something that has a lot of valuable information. I'll even highlight, I'll buy the paperback and I'm just highlighting as I'm listening because it's just a great way to really envelop yourself into what the author has written and what they are saying, telling their story. It's really a great thing. So you are the winner of the voice because your voice is unique to you. And that's, again, something that allows you to stand out in a crowd. Okay, so that's one reason why you need to narrate your own audiobook, because it is unique to you. Your voice is your author brand. It allows you to stand out through all the noise. It doesn't matter whether you're a coach and there's a million coaches out there who've written books. What's going to have you stand out? The way that you tell your story, the way that you express your coaching program, because it's yours. I mean, really, think about it. Why do you work with one trainer over another? We'll use, working out at the gym, for example. All right. You got a weight loss coach. All right. You got a trainer. It's a coach. Why do you work with one person over another? Because you resonate with them, because there's a connection, because you feel comfortable working with this person and you feel comfortable with that person helping you out. That's why you work with that person. And it's the same thing with an audiobook. If you're a coach and you've written whatever coach you are, you could be a relationship coach, a weight loss coach, or maybe you are a trainer, a nutritionist, a financial coach, a career coach, whatever it is, life coach, whatever it is. There's a lot of them out there. Maybe a lot of people have written books, but maybe they haven't turned them into audiobooks. And you are smart when you say, you know what, I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn my book into an audiobook because I want me to express my coaching program the way that I would express it. And that's why people will gravitate towards you. That's why they will resonate with you. because it's the way you express yourself. You know, when you go to the doctor's office, maybe you want to see one certain doctor over another because their bedside manner is so much nicer and you can relate to this doctor and they're very thorough and they treat you with respect, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe as opposed to somebody who's just, rough and gruff around the edges. But maybe you resonate with somebody like that. So that's what allows you to stand out in the crowd. When you narrate your own audiobook, you are standing out in the crowd because it is your unique voice. And that does allow you to rise to the top away from all the other noise that's going on. And people will resonate with you. People will want to hear you tell your own story. And of course, one of the biggest reasons to narrate your own audiobook and why you are the winner of the voice is leaving your legacy, your voice, your legacy, your story, coming from the source, not someone narrating it, doing their interpretation of your story. Narrators are great. They are. There's a lot of professional narrators who voiceover artists who are really good at what they do. They have been trained and are, they got it down technically, right? They're great technicians. The problem with someone narrating your book is they didn't live the experience that you've written about. They didn't live that story that you've told. If it's nonfiction, of course, if you wrote a memoir or told a personal story, or again, as a coach or an entrepreneur, that's you who created that. And you have a certain way of expressing your thoughts and your ideas and your concepts. Another narrator isn't going to be able to connect to that. Not the way that you did, because you're the source, right? You are the one who wrote it. So they may do a great narration, but there is an emotional disconnect because they're not telling your story maybe in the way that you would have expressed it yourself had you been the person to tell that story. That's the one key factor. Now, I'm not saying that narrators are horrible. They're not. Narrators are great. As a matter of fact, if some people aren't able to do their own narration, getting a great narrator can help them, then yeah, absolutely. But there's one thing that you should never do, and I'm a big advocate about this, and I always will be, and that is if you're going to cut corners and you're going to just go the AI route. First of all, there's a big crackdown on AI. I mean, you see it happening on YouTube, right? They're shutting down channels or demonetizing channels that are putting out AI content, trying to dupe people into thinking that it's real. But you know what? We know, right? When you hear an AI voice, it's pretty obvious. And I know that technology is getting better, but you know what? It's still not you. And the biggest problem is not being able to tap into the emotion. And that is a human thing that makes you stand out, because what makes a great audiobook are the intangibles. The intangibles are those things that you don't necessarily physically touch, but there could be a physical aspect of that because you emotionally feel it. And that could be physical too. But it's the feeling, it's the emotion, it's the energy, it's the sincerity, and most importantly, it's the authenticity that you bring to the table. That is what makes a great audiobook. It's the intangibles. You can have a book that sounds technically great, but if there's no emotion behind it, you're going to lose the listener. They're not going to be interested in it. That's why I love listening to authors narrating their own audiobook, because they're putting their unique spin on it, because that's who they are. That's who you are. You are unique. And the other thing about you being the winner of the voice, the one thing that you need to do to be the hands down winner of your voice is loving your voice, appreciating this wonderful sound that comes out of your body, embracing this fantastic voice that you do have, and knowing and understanding, like I mentioned earlier about author brand, how this is a crucial component of your author brand. 100%. And to be the winner of the voice, you need to love your voice. You need to appreciate that, again, that wonderful sound that comes out of your body. And you need to have confidence, knowing that you do have what it takes to do a great audiobook narration. And you do, okay? The one thing that you always need to remember is that it doesn't matter what other people think. And if you're worried about that, no one's going to want to hear my voice. No one's going to, they won't want to listen to me. Why? Why are you making these judgments? You're putting these worries and these false beliefs in your subconscious that really, it's not true. You have a great voice. Maybe you need someone to guide you to bring out the best narration. All right. Yeah, and that's fine. And that's why I do what I do as an audiobook coach and producer, helping authors do a great narration, bringing out their true authenticity. Oh man, it's great. And I tell you, all the authors that I've worked with, everyone, when I listen to their audiobooks, the emotion, the feeling, the authenticity that they brought to it is so good. And that, again, time and time again, it's just stating the fact that you do have what it takes. Now, if you need help with that, that's what I do as an audiobook coach and producer, helping authors narrate their own audiobooks. And I do have an audiobook coaching program. Let's see, do I have my website? I do here. So I'm going to have my website scroll across the screen here for those of you who are watching the video portion of the podcast. robertlanecoaching.com. By the way, all the links to my audiobook coaching program, to booking a call, to finding out more information about the VIP program that I teach, even a DIY program. But I find that most authors like they do like the one-on-one coaching that I provide, because it's a very personal thing. And I do walk with you every step of the way through the entire audiobook creation process. And it's great to have somebody there, right? Not just as a coach, but someone to be your accountability partner, to be your support system, your safety net, your guide, to make sure that you create something awesome. So the point or points that I want to get across on today's episode of this podcast is that you are the winner of the voice. You are, because your voice is a winner. And to have a winning voice, it does start with believing in yourself, having confidence in yourself, loving and appreciating this sound that comes out of your body. The next step is also understanding that the intangibles are what make a great audiobook. And when you bring that sincerity, when you bring that authenticity to your narration, and one thing that is really important is always being tapped in to the core reason of why you wrote your book in the first place. Why were you so compelled to write and publish this book? That same fire that's burning inside is the same exact why, right? Always being tapped into the why that you need to bring to the table when you are doing your audiobook narration. Okay, so 1, believing in yourself, loving your voice, appreciating that sound, right? That comes out of your body. Love it, embrace it. 2, bringing those intangibles, being your true, authentic self. People want to hear you. They don't want to hear posers. They want to hear you tell your story. You share this wonderful story that you've written. So being tapped into the why. Okay, that's a really, really important thing. The third thing, of course, is to have guidance and help. And don't be afraid to seek out and help and get help from somebody who can have you and take you through the steps of setting up your own recording space and setting up your account for publication in either an ACX or Authors Republic or anywhere else that you need to get your audiobook distributed. You need somebody to help you with that, because it does make it so much easier and does take away a lot of the stress and overwhelm. Because I've seen authors who just go, it's too much. It's too overwhelming. I'm just not going to do it. And that's a bad business move. Because remember, you are an entrepreneur. All right. Your author brand, that's you. That's your business. You are an entrepreneur. So you got to make business decisions that are going to move your business forward. And doing an audiobook, of course, is huge, because you're hitting a market that's going to, again, put you in front of the eyes and ears of people that have never discovered you before. And that's, another point of why you are the winner of the voice, because you want to put your voice out there for people to discover you, to hear you tell your story. And again, one of the most important things, and I really think this is such a great thing, is that when you do narrate your own audiobook, you are leaving your legacy. It's not just only in written form. It's you telling your story, coming from the source, sharing your experience, and all those little nuances that make it unique to you that another narrator won't be able to tap into because of the emotional disconnect. And definitely not AI, because you're completely missing the human element. And those, like I say, those intangibles are what makes a great audiobook. You take those away, now you just got a mediocre read. And then it sounds, monotone, or maybe it sounds boring, or maybe it just doesn't sound good at all because there's no emotion behind it. You got to have the emotion. All right. That's why you're the winner of the voice. You have a great voice. So love and appreciate this wonderful sound that comes out of your body. Really have confidence and know that you have everything that it takes to do a great narration. Believe in yourself. I believe in you. I believe in every author that I've worked with. Every author who's gone through the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program, I believe in them 100%. And if you'd like help, I'd love to help you out. There's links in the description, by the way, to book a call. That's my personal calendar. Let's talk. Let's talk about your book. We'll talk marketing strategies. We'll talk about things that you want to do with your audiobook. And then we'll get into the details of what I do in the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. A quick overview basically is I provide the equipment that you need to set up your own recording space, professional equipment. And I don't mean cheapy, crappy $150 Yeti mics or whatever. I mean good stuff, the good stuff. Professional mic, headphones, all that stuff, $400, $500 worth of gear. And that's yours to keep. Show you how to set up your own recording space. And then help you with setting up for being published on Audible, Amazon, Apple, and any other distribution platform that you want to be on. We take care of that. Remember, I walk with you. This is do it with you. I'll never leave you hanging. And then we get into the nitty gritty, right? We dive into what it takes to do a great audiobook, how to be authentic, how to bring those intangibles, and really always being focused on that core reason of why you wrote your book in the first place. As I say, you were bringing that to the table. And here's the real important thing that I do for the author, and that is I do all the audio post-production for you because you have to have your audiobook edited. I listen to everything in real time. I don't just run it through some restoration program and go, okay, it's done, without listening to your audiobook. That's not how you do it. You got to listen to it in real time. If there's a mouth noise that I find distracting, I'll remove it. If there's a slurred word, I will flag it and let you know. If there's a mispronunciation, I will let you know. You got to have somebody listen to it in real time to make sure that your narration is awesome from opening credits to closing credits, and that's what I do. And then I upload your audiobook for you so that you don't even have to worry whether it's going to be rejected or not. Because I guarantee you, after the 12-week program, your audiobook is ready for publication in all the platforms that you want to be on. So book a call. All right. You can reach out to me at robertlanecoaching.com, schedule a call there. Oh, by the way, on my website, if you scroll down, there's samples of authors that I have, little clips of their narration. And I think they're great. And you'll hear that these are not professional speakers, but they are awesome because they did such a good job. Yeah. I'm proud of them. Really proud of them. All right. So just to book a call, that's where it starts. All right. And again, those links to book a call and to find out more about the program is in the description. All right, we're going to wrap things up here for this edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I am Robert A. Lane, audiobook coach and producer. Go to robertlanecoaching.com to find out more about what I do. Book a call. Let's get your audiobook done. Get it done. It's the best business decision that you can make. And there are ways to make money off of your audiobook, just like there was ways to make money off your book. You can. You just got to think outside the box. We'll talk about those marketing ideas when you enroll in the program. And of course, finally, my last assignment to you is that when you're out and about in the world, smile at a stranger, say hello to them, because that small gesture of kindness can make a world of difference in somebody's life. So be a life changer. All right. Will you do that? I know you will. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. We'll be talking to you on the next edition in 1 week. All right, my friends, take care. Have a great, great week.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode. And remember, only you can narrate your story the way it's meant to be heard.